And we are live for the first time, coming from both of our respective homes, Nick Earnshaw. The shift. The shift is live, like
Live.
NBA live. NBA live. I don't know if you might be a little too young to remember
I
that game,
played
but
NBA Live.
yeah,
I
I'm sure
played
you did.
NBA
Nah.
Live.
You grew up
I
playing
had
2K. I get it. It's okay.
I had NBA Live. I did.
All right.
I had it on PS2. I forget which one it was.
Hey, you were alive when PS2 was around?
Yes,
You
yes.
sure?
I'm
It
not
wasn't like
that young.
the PS5?
I've been around for over 20 years now.
Over 20. Oh God.
I'm on the right side of 20, but
Right.
you're on
I'm
the
proud.
wrong side.
Yeah, don't remind me of that. I guess I deserve that. I guess I deserve that. Nick,
Uh,
but hey man, let me back that up for a second. How are you today? I'm being more respectful. How are
I'm
you?
doing fantastic. How are you, buddy? I mean, it's a lot of baseball going on right now. A lot of baseball all
Yeah, a
over the
lot of
world.
I love it. And all the people that say they don't care about the World Baseball Classic, they didn't give it a chance. They didn't give it a chance. Some of our coworkers, should I drop names? Should I? Nick
That's
Earnshaw,
up to you. That's up to you. I
Ryan
already had the
Rothstein,
discussion.
Ryan Rothstein, Tom Kelly. I don't know, man. You guys
Get
need to
on the
watch
wave.
huh?
Get on the wave. They got to get on the wave.
Yeah, they got on the way, man. The World Baseball Classic is fun. Okay,
Fun.
if you watch at the right times. I'm gonna be honest. We're gonna get into it. We're gonna get into it because look, Nick, I was super stoked last Monday when it started, and it was last Monday or Tuesday, and it was the Netherlands, and it
It's like
was
Monday night. Was it like Monday night
it was like
or
Monday
something
night, I
like that?
think. It
I
was like
think like
11
into
o'clock at
Tuesday.
night.
Yeah.
It was and it was exciting. Like, look, I was excited for it to start, but there was about two people in the stands. So, not as great. But man, some of these games, especially lately, like watching like the Dominican Republic, Venezuela, Puerto Rico, the US games. The US games have been packed, of course. Like it's the US, it's the dream team that is 2-1 right now. But Nick, I'm just curious about your early impressions because I've liked it so far. I've enjoyed it. There have been some ups and downs, but overall, like it's a fun tournament. It's
Oh
been
yeah.
fun.
Oh yeah, no, I've enjoyed it. Like watching the overnight games, watching Japan. They've been going crazy for Otani. The US games have been great. The games that are down also in Miami, that are being held. Doesn't
Oh,
matter what
absolutely.
game it is. I've never seen Marlins Park so packed. I've never seen it so packed.
It's never going to be that packed again when the
Never
Marlins play
again.
there.
So I think they're enjoying it down in Miami. Arizona has had a lot of great fans show up. The fans behind the plate during the U.S. Mexico game, even though U.S. lost, they were fantastic. They went a little viral, but I think the enthusiasm's been there this year. I've enjoyed it. It seems like the players are having fun, and that's what it is. Just enjoy it. Just be a fan and watch the game. These are some of the best baseball players in the world. Some, you know, are young on the younger side on some teams, but like when you're
Mitch
watching
Pratt.
the yeah. Listen, his name echoes the sentiment of his age, right? He was 19 years old, getting lit up by the U.S.
Yeah,
batters. So.
he looked like you, man. Like you guys look like you guys were like the same age over there, man. Like you could have been out there throwing pitching strikes to these
No,
guys
I
and would have been
couldn't.
getting lit up.
No, I wouldn't even be close to that mound. I'll tell you that
Did you
right
play?
now.
Did you play?
I played up in high school. I played up until like my sophomore year in high school, and
Would you
then I
top
switched
out at?
probably like 70s. I didn't throw that hard.
I could definitely see that. That's not a surprise.
I stopped pitching when I got older because I couldn't throw that hard. So it's
Yeah, it's
like,
a
I don't know.
good call from your side. Good
Yeah,
call.
it was good. I was the guy who would steal bases. And then
Yeah,
then
like
I
a
and
Trey
then I
Turner.
then I transitioned over to track and worked out.
Okay,
One
so
year.
you could run. You were the Billy Hamiltons of the world. You were
Yes.
the Cedric Mullins.
Yes.
I get it. Okay,
Yeah.
and now here
There
you
was
are in
one
radio.
game. There was one game in high school. I remember I was trying to score from first and dude tripped around third base, got thrown out at home. It's brutal.
That's fantastic.
Brutal. We were up like 6 runs at that point, so it didn't matter. But
Right, right.
but
All
I was
right,
I
so
was I was humming.
right, so let's get back on track to talk about the WBC here. So, yeah, man. What? U.S. got off to a decent start against who was the first team they played? Shoot, wasn't Mexico obviously. That was the second team they played. Who was the first team they played?
First team they
Do you
played.
remember? I
Why
don't
am I
remember.
forgetting? I'm blanking.
because they weren't there. There hasn't who's in their pool. I don't even remember who's in the pool. That shows how much we know about the World Baseball
Great
Classic. It's
Britain,
like,
man.
look, Great Britain, right,
I
right,
forgot they
right.
had the bad
Van
jerseys.
Swirly, because Van
Yeah,
Swirly,
yeah, the
yeah,
Vanimal.
yeah, he struck out Mike Trout.
Dude, those jerseys were horrible. Did you
Oh
see how
gosh,
bad they were? What a terrible
yeah,
looking
really
jersey.
bad,
Were they
really
like
bad.
trying for this look that like just did not work, or they just didn't care? It was one or the other.
It might have been both.
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah, I mean, but look, the U.S. was able to get a win. I think it was 6-2 over Great Britain the
Six
first
two.
night. Yeah, and then I mean, it seems like a lot of more people are stunned than should be because Mexico is a good team. But the U.S. loses to Mexico, and then all this panic sets in. Like, oh my God, are they even going to make it out of their own pool? Like, this is a disaster. They're the dream team. Blah blah blah. But it turns out they control their own destiny. I mean, they were fine last night. I thought they were gonna score like 70 runs, but they decided to just chill out after 12 in the first two innings.
Yeah.
So they get 12 runs against Canada last night. And now they have, I believe, Colombia, I believe, is the next game. And I think it's tomorrow. I could be
Yes,
wrong.
Colombia at 10 p.m.
Colombia at 10. Okay,
10
so
p.m.
that's
Late
um
games, man.
yeah, Colombia's I'm trying to think, is there anybody on Colombia? I forget. They just lost to Great Britain, and that was like a big
Yeah,
upset. Great
that
Britain, that's
was a
like a
big
huge win
upset.
for them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I listen, some of these teams, like I mean, Colombia's 1-1, so they're not terrible. They're fine. They've got a win already. They get,
Right.
they're
Well, Israel's in
okay.
there too, man. Israel's got to win.
Yeah, that's
Garrett
true.
Stubbs with a big hit over there.
Julio Tehran, Jorge Alfaro, forgot. They're on Colombia.
Oh,
Those are two
right. See, I knew
guys.
there was a few. I knew there was a few.
Yeah, there's a few guys. See, some guys have been dropping in and out of the classic too. So it's like our guy Ranger Suarez had to drop out, forearm tightness.
Yeah. Yeah.
He dropped out of the classic. So guys
Yeah.
are moving all over the place, and it stunk that the U.S. lost to Mexico. That was
It's supposed to be
rough.
a big rivalry game.
Yeah, and they
Did
lost.
you did you see the start there with Will Smith and shake Randy Rosarena's hand?
Yes, I did. I did see
I can see that. Will Smith looks like the bully from Toy Story, so I can
that.
totally see that. So yeah, I'm
Oh
sorry.
man,
What does that mean?
you're on fire today. You know that?
I
You're
love
just
look. I
you're
like Will
firing
Smith.
away. I know
I
you
like
are.
Will Smith. He's a great
I know.
catcher. He's not better than the catcher we got here in Philadelphia.
No,
Um,
not the BCIB.
right. Not JT Realmuto. It's funny. I saw some little banter on Twitter after the Mexico game. Is that, oh well, man, like why didn't with this pitching, the rotation and the lineup, and DeRosa's not doing a good job. I'm like, dude, like we should still be winning these games. Like I'm sorry, like the U.S. Look, Mexico is a good team. Still should have won these games. I don't want to
Yeah,
see all this complaining about the lineup, like because Trey Turner wasn't in over Tim Anderson, whoever it
yeah.
was.
It was
And
Tim
don't get me
Anderson.
wrong, I probably would have put Turner in over Tim Anderson. Tim Anderson's a great player, but Trey Turner is one of the best players in baseball. But they still should be winning these games. Okay, in their pool,
Yes,
they should be undefeated. Don't get me wrong.
their pool's
Um,
not difficult. It's not
no,
not the most difficult pool. It's
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 not.
just not.
It's not the pool of death, according to Garrett Stubbs, which he's in with Puerto Rico and the Dominican Republic and
Yeah.
Venezuela. Um, that's what he called it. They called it the
I know he
pool of
did.
death.
Yeah, I know.
Okay.
Pool of death. They're not. They're certainly not in it whatsoever. The U.S. should find a way to get out of this pool easily.
Yeah. I guess. I mean, you're gonna be nervous for the Columbia game.
A little bit.
A little bit,
Little
right?
bit. Little bit. I mean, a
They
little
should
bit.
win.
Their their pitching isn't as strong as like say the Dominican Republic. It's not as deep. I feel like the line. You look at the lineup, and then you look at where the pitching staff's at. I mean, losing Kershaw, guys like that.
Yeah.
No Justin Verlander. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
there's not those big names. I feel like on the U.S. pitching staff that go way down deep into the roster. So yeah, I think the pitching is a little bit of concern. I think they're still going to be able to swing the bats extremely well. I mean,
I
when
saw
you look at the
last night.
lineup, it's ridiculous. You're putting some of the
I
best
know.
players on earth. Just you just go down the list. You're like, oh my
Saw
goodness. You go
Trout.
from
Saw Trout hit
Trout,
a dinger last night, dude.
yeah, Trey
Jesus, that was a
Turner hit a
missile. Yeah,
dinger.
the Turner's was a missile. I was so
Whew,
excited when he hit that. I was like, "That's our guy." Go
it
ahead,
is.
Trey. Go
Yeah.
ahead.
Oh, we just signed him. He took less money to come to Philadelphia. Not a ton less, but still,
Right, but
still,
still,
he still got 300 mil. But
excited to
a
come
little
play with his
something.
buddies Bryce Harper and Kyle Schwarber, some of his
Yeah.
former teammates.
Yeah,
So
getting to play with Kyle in the World Baseball Classic.
yeah, Yeah. Oh,
Okay.
and you mentioned this. Let's transition to this with the World Baseball Classic. You mentioned this to me before the show, and I'll tell you, my mom was giving me crap about this last night while we were watching the U.S. game last night. She was giving me crap about it because we were talking about. We're gonna get to this in a second as well. The Puerto Rico perfect game. Um, but the mercy rules. How do you feel about the mercy rules? The seventh inning 10 run mercy rules. I think if it's 15 in the eighth inning, I forget exactly what it
Something I
is.
think it's something like that, yeah.
Are you a fan?
Uh, mm, I don't know how I'm feeling about this. I don't have like I don't want to see this in Major League Baseball, you know? Like with all the changes going on, like do we want to see this one day so they speed up the game? What are we going to make it like Little League? I don't
Ghost
know.
runners, then you go to
Yeah,
yeah.
like tournament style, I guess I don't really have a problem with it. I mean, if you're at 10 runs, I mean, you're probably not going to come back this late in the game. You know what I
Well, I
mean?
mean,
But
the one game was it Korea and
22 to
Canada?
2. Yeah, no,
Yeah,
it was
yeah, like
Korea
that's
and China. It was Korea and China.
okay. That makes
22
sense.
to
That
2.
that was fine. Like you gotta stop the game. Like
Yeah.
there's no one's watching that at this point. Like
No,
no
nobody
one.
cares.
You know what I mean? The only people that are watching it are the people, probably not even in the stands. The people that have to do their jobs and the
Yeah.
commentators and the producers and stuff like that. That's probably it.
Yeah, it's just start sending people home at that point. You know, it's
Yeah,
like,
just
all
hey,
right,
go. You
you
can
know,
leave.
22
We
to
need to we
2.
need to clean up early. We
Yeah.
need to get everything
Yeah, let's
done.
get ready for the next day. I mean, some of these games are late too, so it's
Yeah,
like, yeah, I guess I'm fine with it in tournament play. You know,
yeah,
the
it's
World
okay.
Baseball Classic. It's just it's a fun tournament. I hope one day it gets to the level of the World Cup. Probably won't. It's still new. It's still maturing as a tournament, right? It's still in its baby stages. So I you know I'm okay with that. I'm okay with them using the 10 run rule and the mercy rule. It's fine. It's fine. We'll keep it.
So is this tournament in its baby stages?
I would say so compared to the World Cup. Yeah,
Oh yeah, World Cup's been around like
because you're
500
not
years.
because the problem is you're not going to get the major league players in the Olympics. It's just not going to happen.
Right.
The when the Summer Olympics go on, it's usually during it's in the summer and it's when in the middle of the baseball season, the
Yeah,
dog
no
days
one's
of
gonna
summer.
right.
They're not going to switch over like hockey does and take a break. They're not going to do that.
Right. Well,
So
I mean, I don't even think the NHL players are in the
I
Olympics
don't think they
anymore.
do it anymore either. I mean, they used to, but
Yeah, I miss
yeah,
that. I loved when they
but
were in there.
so like this is a great way to be like on the national stage, kind of like an Olympic style type thing. I'm cool with it. I'm fine with the mercy rule in a tournament. It's cool.
I agree. And let's what last thing to hit on here with the WBC. I'd mentioned it there. Puerto Rico with
Here we go.
the walk off mercy rule, perfect game. How does that sound?
Ugh, that's nuts. That's nuts. A perfect first one in World Baseball Classic history, Francisco. First. Like,
Yep.
this like how can you not want to watch these games? Seriously. Seriously. Some of
So,
the like it's a top talent in the world.
I know, and it's
Watch it.
exciting, and the atmosphere, man. Like some of these games are just, and I understand some of these games, the crowd might not be into it depending on which country it is. But some of these games, man, like you tune into, like I have it on in the background right now. Like you got Nicaragua and Venezuela, man. People show up, and the Latino people, especially, man, they love their baseball and they get excited. Look, I'm Latino descent. My father's from Paraguay. We know how to party when it comes to baseball. Look, I got Jose Alvarado. Jose Alvarado in my face right now. He knows how to party.
Yes.
Venezuelans know how to party. We need more Latino. You know what the Phillies and other major league teams should start doing? Just paying Latino people to show up to baseball games. Like give them the money and just have them in the stands, waving flags around, having a Phillies flag. Waving a flag for Bryce Harper or whoever, and just have like I don't know if you've ever been to. Have you ever been to a Philadelphia Union game, the soccer team?
I have not, and my girlfriend is going. She's a big soccer nut, so I will be at a Union game. So they should. I mean, didn't
Well, no,
what
no,
I forget
no,
what game it was. Didn't they have cheerleaders on top of the dugout? I don't know what game it was.
I don't even. Phil's did.
No, not the Phillies. I'm talking about in the World Baseball Classic. They had like cheerleaders on the dugout. I forget what game it was, but yeah, like
I can see
build
that.
up the
Yeah.
atmosphere, a little
Yeah.
bit.
Well,
I'm cool
well.
with
So let,
that.
let me say that. Let me say, but the one thing about the Union though, they have.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've heard of it. They have the Sons of Ben. It's a
Yes.
section of the stadium
Yes.
where they're all going crazy. We need to have that for like every major league. A major league stadium should rent out a section every single game. For they should pay people to get
See.
out there and just go crazy.
See, I'm down. I'm down for a
But
good
Major
time
League
at the
Baseball would never
game.
do that.
Never, and the purists would go bananas. And
Why? That's
I
stupid.
don't know. I
And you
listen.
know what? And you know what else it
I'm
is,
cool
Nick?
with it.
It's yeah, no, you know what else it is too? It's all these old people that hate the bat flips and all the pimping home runs. They hate all that, and all the Latino people do that, and I love it. I love the energy. It's all that same type of energy. You watch Soto hitting bombs yesterday, Machado hitting the ball everywhere. It's exciting, and the Dominican people are excited too in the stadium. They're making noise the entire time. It's fun.
Yes,
Come on
I'm
now.
all about fun. I'm
I
big
love
on
fun.
fun. FUN. I'm all about it. So,
Yeah.
listen, bring the flags, bring the fun, bring the energy. Because sometimes you and I don't get bored of baseball. We're not going to get
Right.
bored. But just for like a
Right.
casual fan wanting to go to a game, I could see why they'd be a little bored. All right, it's like the middle of August, a game against the Colorado Rockies. Who cares? You know what I mean? One of the worst teams in baseball. It's
Mhm.
about 7-0 in the sixth inning. The game's dragging on. I mean, now it's not probably not going to happen as much with the pitch clock and all, but I could see why. I could see why there isn't as much energy throughout the entire game. Or baseball classic games, you're moving. And now with the pitch clock, you're moving. So it's like
Yeah.
I don't know. I'd be cool with it having like a section going crazy. It's fun. This is why the World Baseball Classic's great. This is why
Yeah.
I want it to become like a World Cup esque type thing
I
for
agree with you.
baseball. Because it's
Yeah.
great for the game. It grows the game around the world. The interest has continued to rise. I mean, they're selling out. I think I saw a stat. It might have been John Morosi put out a tweet. The
Mhm.
attendance in the Diamondback Stadium this year for the World Baseball Classic up 75% from the last time. So
That's
I mean,
awesome.
the people want good baseball. So it's there. The interest will be there. It's about putting the right product on the field and generating the interest around the game and putting out a good, entertaining type of product, not just on the field but around the field as well.
I agree with you. Yeah, I 100% agree with you, Nick. So let's off the WBC. Next episode, obviously, we'll touch on it again. Wherever the tournament's at in that stage, I don't know if it'll be. It'll probably be close to the finals, but so we'll touch on it next episode. So let's get to our last round of divisional outlooks here. We saw obviously the first episode we looked at the Central divisions, worst divisions in baseball, probably. No disrespect to both of you, AL and NL Central divisions. We talked about the West divisions. You go watch our second episode where we talked about the AL West and NL West. Looking forward to what those divisions have in store this year. And now here we are. I've been excited for this one, Nick. I know you have too. Uh, Honestly, probably the two best divisions in baseball, both the Eastern divisions from the American League and National League. You know what? Let's save the NL East for last
Yeah,
here.
save the best for
Yeah,
last. Come on.
save the best for last. But both of these divisions are gonna be fun,
They
man.
are.
Let's start with the American League East, man.
Mm.
Just looking at the records from last year in 2022, the Yankees won the division in 99 and 63. They were on pace for about 175 wins at one point in the season. Ended up with a 99 win record after a dreadful, dreadful second half. But thank God Aaron Judge was there. The Toronto Blue Jays came in second and 92 and 70. Were able to secure a wild card spot. At third came in the Tampa Bay Rays, 86 and 76. Fourth, surprise here, Baltimore Orioles, 83 and 79. And in last place last year, the Boston Red Sox, 78 and 84. So, the worst team coming in with 78 wins. Pretty good division, if you ask me. So yeah, Nick, what are your overall thoughts heading into the season, man? This is a very interesting division. I think the Orioles are definitely a team to watch. I didn't love their offseason, but Orioles are really interesting team to watch. Yankees are always interesting to watch, especially with Judge there coming off the record setting with home runs. And the Blue Jays. My God, the Blue Jays are stacked. Nick, what is the outlook for this division going forward this year?
Oh man, I mean, where do I start? I mean, this is just a fascinating division. When you look at the Orioles, a lot of young guns on that team. Just they're ready to pop off. I feel like you mentioned, little underwhelming offseason, I guess you could say. Blue Jays, they have a ton of firepower, but we'll start in the Bronx. I think we have to start there with the division winners. Got to an ALCS last season. They're a little banged up right now, to be honest, as well. So I'm very curious to see what happens with them. And the storyline, me, Mr. Prospect, what's going to happen with Anthony Volpe, man? I am so
Yeah, me
ecstatic. I
too.
have
I
watched
know.
him for the past few years. He is ridiculous. They need to get him in the lineup ASAP at shortstop, man. I really believe it. I I get he's so young, and I know they want to take their time with him, but I think Volpe's on his way, man. And they also have the Martian Jason Dominguez in the waiting in the wings. Oh, they have a ton of good prospects on their way. It's ridiculous. I think the Yankees, they just can't find a way to get past the Houston Astros. It's the Astros are just their kryptonite every single year.
It's hard for
But
anybody.
I'm very curious to see what happens with the Yankees. I mean, they signed Carlos Rodon. I think he's banged up too. So
Yes. Right.
they had a pretty good offseason. Harrison Bader as well. Can they get an offensive breakout from him this year? Um, that's kind of what I'm waiting on for this Yankees team. So I think the Yankees, I think they're a team to look out for. I think they'll probably win the division again. Can't count out the Blue Jays though. Cannot count them out whatsoever. I mean, this lineup is stacked. I mean, they get Chris Bassett on a 3-year deal this season. They also added Brandon Belt as a DH. And something that's interesting? Did you hear that the Rogers Center kind of went under a little bit of a makeover? The dimensions are going to be different.
Thought I did. How
Yeah.
crazy is it going to be?
I wonder how that's going to change things offensively for the Blue Jays. But I think they're going to be the top two teams. And just looking at some of the odds heading into this year, the Yankees are the favorite across DraftKings, FanDuel, and PointsBet. On DraftKings, plus 110, plus 130 on FanDuel, and plus 120 on PointsBet. Blue Jays are also second. They're right behind at plus 215 on DraftKings, plus 200 on FanDuel, and plus 200 on PointsBet. And then you got the Rays. Another interesting team, man. I mean, they just seem to build through their farm every single year. There's a new guy, I mean, Wander Franco. What can he be made of? Their franchise record free agent in Zach Eflin, leaving the Phillies, signed the most money in Rays history. So he could be the Rays. I don't know about that, but he has to stay healthy. But this is a fascinating division. I think there's a lot of storylines. Boston's still trying to figure things out. I feel like they're in a kind of a retooling phase. And the Orioles, what do the young guns have? But I think the Yankees and Blue Jays, this is going to be a 2-horse race at the top.
Yeah, I agree with you, and I completely forgot that Frankie Montas is out for at least the first half of the
Yeah,
season. He
yeah,
was not good for the Yankees last year, but they're counting on him to be good. I still like their rotation. I think there's
good.
some concerns there for sure, but I mean to not have Rodon to start the season and to lose Frankie Montas, you would think, oh, it's a huge detriment, which in to a certain extent it is as far as depth goes. But like, just looking at like Fangraphs roster resource, like Cole, Severino, Herman, Clark Schmidt, who I think is definitely a wild card here, and Nestor Cortez, it's still like a good rotation, and it's better than what they've been able to say they've had in the past. So the rotation, I think, is can still be good. But they're definitely going to miss Montas a little bit. They're going to miss Rodon, depending. I don't really know what his injury outlook is for the start of the season. It says that he's not going to be on the the opening day roster. So I do think that's interesting. But I still think that Cole is definitely going to carry a good amount of the workload. Severino was able to stay healthier for the most part last year. Herman, I think he was coming off his suspension last year, I believe. Maybe he was injured as well, but he was fairly solid as far as I can remember from last year. Clark Schmidt, I mean, he's going to be getting some starts here now, man. Like he's
Yeah,
supposed to be one of their big prospects coming up over the last couple of years. Obviously, it's big for him to start producing. And Nestor Cortez, can he repeat last year? can he repeat last year, but I don't see why he can't. His stuff is, he has one of the nastiest cutters in the game. As long as he can replicate what he did last year, I don't see why, that rotation can't be good. I think Clark Schmidt's a big wild card there, but besides that, I don't see, I don't see why their pitching can't be, can't carry some weight this year. And one thing I wanted to hit on too with the Yankees, so if you look at the top half of their lineup, I love it. Glaber had a bounce back year last year after really, really bad couple of years. Judge, obviously, don't have to get into Aaron Judge too much there. We know what he can do. Anthony Rizzo, we know what he can do. Giancarlo, he's getting a little older, but we know what he can do. I don't see why he can't have another productive season under his belt. But after that is where I am concerned if I'm a Yankees fan. Oswaldo Cabrera, man, he showed you a lot last year. Coming up for the Yankees. But Donaldson isn't the
Yeah.
same. He's 37 now. Aaron Hicks wasn't what he was 5 years ago. Jose Trevino, All-Star last year, and then Oswald Peraza is, according to Fangraphs roster resource, is supposed to be the starting shortstop there for the Yankees.
Yeah.
There's just a lot of, I don't know. I don't love the second half of the lineup here, and Judge in the top half of that lineup needs some help, man. I don't know. Like I don't see the Yankees being better than the Blue Jays this year. That's where I'm at.
Really? So you think the Blue? Do you think the Blue
Oh, I
Jays win
think
the division?
Toronto's ready to take the next step. Oh, 100%. I had
Oh,
them
all
winning.
right.
I had them winning the division.
All right. I listen. The injuries are they're a bug right now for the Yankees. I I feel like they might get off to a slow start that could put them behind the Blue Jays. I think that's a very real possibility at this point, right? I mean,
Yeah.
you're losing some of your top flight pitchers. Bader, I think, has a little bit of he's a little banged up too. So
I forgot about
I
activating.
listen. I listen. The Yankees, they have to get healthy, and the back half of the lineup. Ugh, I don't know. Listen. That's why I'm all for bringing up the young kids, man. Bring them up. Let them play. Let them go. Let them loose. I think that could give them a spark, especially with all the buzz around Volpe and Dominguez in spring training.
Yeah.
Dominguez, I don't think he's ready yet, but Volpe, I think he's right there. I think at some point, especially if the Yankees continue to derail with the injuries, you might have to bring him up at some point to try and give a spark because that back end, I don't know. And then we've seen Stanton; he's been hurt before too. So I think when it comes to the Yankees, yeah, could they take a step back? Very possible. I think they'll still be fine. I think they'll still win 90 plus games this year, but it's about getting healthy. And if they can't stay healthy, that's gonna be hard to do.
Yeah, I 100% agree with you. And also, I just want to plug, obviously, the YouTube channel here. I did 3 spring training overreactions just a couple of days ago and talked about Anthony Volpe. His peak could be better than Derek Jeter's. That's all I'm going to say. Go watch that video. Go watch that video, Paul Jolowitz. Shout out to you, Jolly. We love you, Jolly. So yeah, man, I just want to this is what I mean. The Blue Jays, man. I just look at their lineup and their rotation and everything, and instantly, man, just my concerns for the Yankees compared to Springer, Bichette, Vladdy Jr., Alejandro Kirk coming off a great year, really unexpected. Dalton Varsho, huge ad this year.
Kevin
It,
Kiermaier, another
Kiermaier,
one.
I don't think that's such a bad thing that he's hitting ninth. He's not a great hitter, but we know what he can do with the glove, and that's important. What he brings to you out there in the outfield. He has a Hall of Fame type of glove. Okay, I'm not saying he's a Hall of Famer. I'm just saying he has that type of glove. Matt Chapman, obviously we know what he can do. Brandon Belt, I think hitting in the bottom of the lineup, that's a good place for him to be. He was in San Francisco where he was expected to be a big bat in that lineup, and I think it was a good for him to come to Toronto, a place where he could probably succeed a little better, not being under as much pressure. And then Whit Merrifield's an interesting one too, because just a couple of years ago, won a batting title. Just recently, I don't think has been that great of a hitter. But again, kind of the similar thing with Brandon Belt here at the bottom of the lineup, not as much pressure as 1 through 6 there, and those guys can get it done. We know at the top of the lineup. That lineup's just too stacked, man. And then the rotation, Alek Manoah, one of my favorite pitchers in baseball. Kevin Gausman, his sinker, one of my favorite pitchers in baseball is his sinker. Jose Barrios, interesting one because had a rough year last year, unexpected, signed a big contract, but I think he's a lot of people's picks to kind of be one of those bounce back guys that comes back this year and kind of reverts back to what he was in Minnesota. And then Chris Bassett, big signing. We know what Chris Bassett can do. We saw what he did in New York last year, what he did in Oakland years prior. Great pitcher. Yusei Kikuchi, I think as a fifth starter, good pitcher. I think he's good for that slot. And then the bullpen, man, I love what they got there with Romano and Simber, Eric Swanson. Like I like the back end of their bullpen. I just don't. I think the Blue Jays are ready to take that next step. They have to figure it out themselves because they haven't really taken that next step. But if there's going to be a year to do that this year, Nick, I'm not going to say they're winning the World Series, but I think that for that they can win this division and possibly make it to the ALCS. Man, I don't know. Maybe they could.
Hefty expectations for the Blue Jays. Look, I liked the
Deserved.
offseason they had. Yeah, I mean, listen, you have a lot of depth. I mean, I love Matt Chapman. I'm still a big fan of Matt Chapman. He was a guy big. So I listen, when it comes to this team, right? When it comes to the Blue Jays, I think it's about them putting it all together with the young players, Bo Bichette, Guerrero. Is Guerrero going to get that extension? When is he going to get that extension? Right. When it comes to this Blue Jays team, I'm with you. I think this is a year that they possibly could take that next step. And if the Yankees, they can't stay healthy. That's my big thing with the Yankees. It's about staying healthy. And so far they have not done that in spring training. I think that Blue Jays lineup, it's very, very deep. And if you could get production out of the Brandon Belts of the world, you get production out of the Kevin Kiermaiers of the world, I think you're going to be in a good spot with the Blue Jays. And hey, if you are a betting man, it's not a bad look if you take them. They're second, like everywhere, to the Yankees before the season for the division. So very, very curious what the Blue Jays do.
Yeah, me too. Let's get this out of the way. Let's talk about the Boston Red Sox. I don't think there's probably too much disagreement here. I don't. Well, obviously, at the end of this, AL East discussion, we'll get to our predictions here, what we think what the rankings are gonna be for the division. But I think we can both agree. Like, I don't love the Red Sox this year. I don't think
No.
Red Sox fans love the Red Sox this year. I don't think any baseball fans love the Red Sox this year. I'll just give you this. Like, let's get the bad out of the way. I don't understand what ownership's doing there. They did re-sign, they gave that big extension to Devers, and I'm sure some Red Sox fans are
11
happy about that.
years.
Yeah,
11 years.
great player. I love Rafi Devers. He's really fun to watch. But it doesn't make any sense what they're doing, man. I mean, like Yoshida, I like the pickup, but I don't understand the Justin Turner pickup. Adam Duvall, I mean, yeah, he hit 38 homers a couple of years ago. I don't understand the pickup. He's getting older. Reese McGuire, I don't know what they see in him. And Kike Hernandez, I like what he did for them a couple of years ago. He fit that team in 2021, that run they made to the ALCS. Verdugo, I don't know what they're expecting from Alex Verdugo in the long run. I don't really get it. Tristan Casas, he's somebody to look out for, I guess. He's their second ranked prospect. He's the 29th ranked prospect overall, according to Fangraphs. And then I go to the rotation, like Kluber, like Corey Kluber, he's 37, dude. He's 37. Like Corey Kluber's best days were in Cleveland
It's the same
years
thing.
ago.
It's the same thing you could say with Turner. I mean, he's not a
Yeah,
long-term
I don't.
replacement at
It doesn't
DH.
make sense.
Trevor Story, also another guy going to be out for the year.
Right, I forgot about Trevor Story.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
that signing didn't make sense for them either. I did not. None of the stuff they do really makes sense. Chris Sale, he's still there. He just cannot stay healthy.
no,
It's great for baseball if he could, but he just can't. He's
just
34 now. It's only going to get worse. Nick Pavetta's fine. I don't want to talk too much about Nick Pavetta because he was in Philadelphia and I don't care about talking about Nick Pavetta. Tanner Houck, I love Tanner Houck, and I'm very interested in seeing what he's going to do for his career. But I'm just going down the roster right now. Like Kenley Jansen. Kenley Jansen is 35. I don't know how much left he has left in the tank. He was good last year for Atlanta. But it just doesn't make sense for this team. They just need to rebuild. It doesn't make any freaking sense, Nick. It doesn't make any sense because, like, you know what? I'm not a Red Sox fan, but like, it's good for baseball when Boston's playing well. When Boston, New York, Philadelphia, LA, they're all playing well. It's good for baseball. And
yes,
Boston doesn't know what they're doing. They're like the Philadelphia Flyers. Go fire your GM. Just go fire everybody. It doesn't make any sense. I sound like an angry Red Sox fan. I'm not, but for the good of baseball, get it together.
Yeah, I and listen, and they lose Bogarts this year too. I mean, he's gone. I They're kind of stuck in no man's land, right? And when you're in a good division that has the Yankees, who went to an ALCS last year, who has the up and coming Toronto Blue Jays, who have just gotten better, had a great offseason, right? Tampa Bay is always a team that's sticking around. Yeah, it's and Baltimore is on the rise with a lot of their young players and young talent. Like Boston doesn't fit in the mix right now, and it's always great for baseball when Boston's good, right? When the Yankees Boston Red Sox rivalry is at its peak with a lot of talent, yeah,
Yeah.
people are into it, right? So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, they're kind of stuck in this weird spot. I don't know what to consider it. Is it like a retooling phase? Are they trying to kind
You
of
sound the
compete? I
Flyers. It sounds
That's
the
what I'm saying.
Flyers.
I think your Flyers comparison is spot on. They're signing like these guys that are like older. They're what are you
It's
signing
like
them
pick
for?
one. Pick what you're gonna do.
Are
You know
you
what I
going
mean? Like
all in? Spend some money if you're going to go all in, right? I mean,
you know what it is that Nick,
I don't know.
I think they look back at 2021 and I think they got lucky that year. Let's just be honest. It was a bit of a fluke. I'd have to go back and look exactly who was on that roster. But it was a bit of a fluke. You had your Kike Hernandez who was able to play all over the field and he still can. And
Yeah,
I just
yeah, Bogarts.
yeah, Bogart, right, and Bogarts isn't there anymore, right?
Yeah,
Um, like it just doesn't really make sense to what they're trying to do now. I think maybe
there's no
they're
direction. It feels
right.
like, you know what I mean.
Maybe
There's
they
no
think
plan.
maybe they think they can just do what they did in 2021, just sign a few players or be veterans here and there, and they can just put it together. I don't see it. That just can't be replicated every single year, man. Things like that can't work. And eventually, man, like, look, I don't have the Red Sox losing 100 games. I have them,
No,
I don't have them that bad. I think that, certain players will get on hot runs that we know they can, like a even like a Devers, obviously. We'll see what Yoshida can do. But there's just like I don't know, man. This is a very mediocre team.
yeah, I'm not sold on Boston. I think they finish in the basement. DraftKings, they have them above the Orioles. FanDuel has them above the Orioles. PointsBet has them above the Orioles. I like the Orioles above the Red Sox.
Oh, me too.
I do. I don't think the Red Sox are going to finish above the Orioles. Like the Orioles have a lot of young talent, and I think they'll be able to shine a little bit more than the Red Sox this year. I don't know if the Orioles will get to the playoffs. Last year was a pretty fun year for them, but I Boston just you look at their lineup, it's just not it doesn't stand out to me. I mean, who do they have? I mean, Kike's great, Yoshida, I mean, cool, Duvall, Devers, it's fine. It's fine. It's just an average 80
It's just okay.
75 to
Yeah.
80 win team again. I think that's just where they're at, and I don't think they really got better in the offseason.
Yeah, and so I'm going to say Baltimore for last because I think they're the most intriguing
Yeah.
team to talk about going
Yep.
into this season. But let's talk about the Tampa Bay Rays. I think the Tampa Bay Rays are going to be an above. I'm trying to think of the word. Like I think they're going to be a fairly above average team. I think they're going to be in the mix for the wild card, but I don't see. I think their offense is fine, but I think them not having a really an above average lineup is going to hurt them this year. I think a big one is Wander Franco. Can he stay
Yes.
healthy? And we
Mhm.
all know Franco has the talent. He has the it factor. He has all of that. But can he stay healthy? The last couple of years, he hasn't been able to stay healthy, and that's what has been the thing with him. So really, for me with the Rays, man, like the pitching, we always know the pitching is going to be there. Of course, they're going to fix Zach Eflin because they're going to fix Zach Eflin just because
That's
they
just what
couldn't do it.
happens.
Yeah, and don't get me wrong, like Eflin's not a bad pitcher. He was never
No.
a bad pitcher when he was here in Philadelphia. But the thing about Eflin though, too, you got to stay healthy. I mean, will the Rays be able to fix that? No, that's going to be able. That's really more up to Eflin's body and to him. But no Glass now, by the way, to start the season, I believe.
Yep.
I would. They Baseball needs him to stay healthy. He's fun for baseball. His stuff is nasty. He's great when he is healthy. McClanahan, obviously coming off a career year, one of the best pitchers in baseball. Drew Rasmussen, good pitcher. Eflin, again, we talked about Eflin. I think as long as he's able to stay healthy, I think the Rays will make him a better pitcher like they do with everybody else. And then you got Jeffrey Springs, Luis Patino there. And then you got Peter Fairbanks in the bullpen, Jason Adam. um, Colin Poche, Ryan Thompson, like good bullpen. They always have good pitching. I'm never going to bet against their pitching. It's always going to carry them to be uh, a better, a better than 500 team. Um, I just think really, dude, it comes down to the offense. Like
Yeah.
Franco's got to stay healthy. We know what Randy Arozarena can do. We know what Brandon Lau can do. He's
Doing it for
above.
Team Mexico.
Yeah, yes, he is. Screw you, Will Smith, for not shaking his hand. Uh, I don't love their lineup. Yandy Diaz, kind of a bit of an underrated, I think, hitter there. But Franco's got to stay healthy, and even then, I don't like them to like super secure a wild card spot. I
Yeah.
think I like them at around like I'll save my record prediction for here at the end, but I think they're a good team, a slightly good team, not a patented good team, but I'll say slightly good.
Yeah, I think they'll be fine. I think they're third in this division. I don't see them overtaking the Blue Jays. I don't see them overtaking the Yankees at this point. Their offense it's okay. I feel like it'll be okay this year, just based upon the lineup, losing guys, and then Franco. I mean, he's the big piece of this lineup, and if he can't stay healthy, like you mentioned, they're not really going to be exciting to watch. I feel like if he's not going to be able to stay on the field, so it's imperative that he's able to stay on the field for the Rays to get it going. But yeah, I mean, having Glass now out, I think this is a team that can compete for a third wild card spot. I think they're a fringe
Me too.
playoff team. I just they're not where they were a couple years ago when they got to the World Series, right? It's not that same team at all from where they were at. So I think this is a team that you're going to start to see kind of fade a little bit this season. I mean, I think
Yeah, me
you're going to
too.
see a rise out of the Blue Jays. You're going to see a little bit of a fade from Tampa Bay just because the talent's not there. I mean, the pitching I think will be able to keep them going, keep them afloat. But offensively, it just doesn't excite me, doesn't wow me. But the Rays always find a way. It feels like to find their way in, sneak into the playoffs. They
Always.
always find this hidden talent that nobody knows about, right? So, listen, I think the Rays. I think they're right around 80, 84 wins. That's just where I'm at with this team. I don't see them going really much above that. I think they're okay. I think they're better than Boston. I think depending on what Baltimore could do, how much of a step Baltimore takes, I think they're gonna Baltimore and Tampa Bay will be right around that kind of same type of win total.
Yeah, yeah, we're kind of on the same ground there. Well, a couple of things I wanted to mention here. Forgot Shane Baz, who has some nasty stuff, and we've seen him, a few flashes when he's been able to be healthy. Got Tommy John on
Yep.
September 28th of last year, so they're not going to have him. Um, Andrew Andrew Kittredge as well. He got Tommy John last June, so I don't know when he's going to come back. I think he's a big piece of their bullpen. But again, like pitching isn't, I'm not really too worried about when it comes to the Rays
No.
and their pitching.
I
And
mean,
then
losing
obviously,
Kiermaier is another guy. I mean, he goes to a division
yeah,
rival in the
yeah,
Blue Jay.
and he
That's
was there
another
forever.
loss. Yeah, he was gosh, I mean, how long was he in Tampa Bay for? So I
Never
mean,
happens where a guy's
that's
in
what I'm
Tampa Bay that
saying.
long.
Like they lost pieces in the offseason. There's injuries now. They didn't add like a big time offensive piece to their lineup this offseason. They added Eflin, great back end guy, but they didn't they didn't do enough in the offseason for me to move the needle to being better than the Yankees, to being better than the Blue Jays. It's just not there for me. Their pitching will keep them around a playoff
Look,
spot,
yeah,
but
I agree.
that's it. Especially when Glass now is able to come back.
Yeah. All right. So let's, I'm going to start with you, Nick, because the Orioles, I think everyone was excited about this team, especially like second half of last year, them possibly making a playoff run. Obviously, Adley Rushman, one of the more exciting young players in baseball. I think he's great for the sport, and he's great
Yes.
for that fan base in general. Um, the Orioles are an interesting one because they came off a season where they were above 500, first time in a long time. Um, bright future. I mean,
Yes.
bright future, but they haven't done much this offseason. So I want to start with you. How do you feel about this team?
Listen, I love the Rays farm system. I mean, not the Rays, the Orioles farm
Yeah,
system.
yeah,
I mean, Gunnar Henderson, so excited for him, man.
absolutely.
He's going to be so fun to watch. Obviously, have to be excited about Adley too. So young. Listen, I'm just not sold on their pitching. The pitching
Oh,
staff
not at all.
is
I'm glad you
just
said it.
is just I
Well,
want to
which
be
part though?
nice.
Which part? Which part? Because I'm sold on the bullpen. Bullpen's fire.
Bullpen's fine. Yeah, I like the bullpen. The
Bullpen's
starting
very good.
pitching. The starting
Yeah. Okay.
pitching.
Okay.
It's
Okay. I just wanted to
atrocious,
clarify.
man.
Oh,
It's
it's very bad.
atrocious. It's
Yeah.
atrocious. Like you're not gonna be able to win this league with Kyle Gibson and Cole Irvin towards the top of your rotation. I just I'm not big on their rotation whatsoever. I think that's
Or
what's gonna
wait,
hold them back, man. It's
wait.
just
Can I just say one thing? Can I
yeah.
say
Go
one thing?
ahead.
Are we just
Go ahead.
biased towards? Are we biased towards as Phillies fans towards Kyle
No, we're
Gibson?
not biased. Kyle Gibson's not a top end starter. I'm sorry.
Not
He's
even close.
barely a
He might
fifth,
not be a
man.
major league starter. I
He's
don't know.
barely a fifth. That's what I'm saying. He's barely a fifth. So yeah, I mean, I I think I think you'll see some glimmers of hope with this team. I don't get excited looking at that rotation. It's not even close right now. I think you're going to see some runs where offensively they'll be able to put some things together. You're going to see exciting things out of Gunnar Henderson. You're going to see exciting things out of Adley Rushman. Two guys who are exciting players, right? And listen, Baltimore has the best one of the, or if not the best, farm system in baseball. I just they're not there yet. They're not there yet. And once they're able to start adding a little more to the starting rotation, I'll be happy to be on the Orioles train. I'm excited for the come up for the Orioles. I'm excited for all the young players that they have in the farm. I'm excited for Gunner. I'm excited, but they're not there yet, man. They're just not. That last year was fun. I think you're going to see some sparks of that again, that excitement. But they're not there yet. That starting pitching is atrocious.
Yeah, it is. I'm like, and I just wanted to touch on the offseason they had again, Nick, because I, I mean, everyone was expecting them to spend. And like, I don't
Yeah,
know. I mean, if they were going to do it this year, well, I mean, I guess you can do it next year and you can do it years to come. They
I
better.
mean, I mean they
But
have Grayson Rodriguez as well,
right,
another in their starting rotation, but he's so young, man. He's so young.
right. Did he even throw last year at all in the majors or
I
no?
don't even think so. I don't even think so.
That's my point. So like, but you got to figure like you won 83 games last year. Go out and get like, I don't know. I don't. I mean, I don't know who. I mean, I forget who was on the market that they could have came in and snagged, but like, I mean, it would have made sense for them to at least,
Cole Irvin, come on.
yeah. Like, I wrote down the names. Like, I mean, there wasn't too many names to write down, but like, I mean, like, look, Cole, you said it. Cole Irvin, Kyle Gibson, we already mentioned. Adam Frazier is he had one good half a year in Pittsburgh,
Ugh.
and that was it. He went to San Diego, and then he went to Seattle last year, and he sucked. So like, I don't. I just I'm
Cedric
not.
Mullins is fine.
I love Cedric Mullins. Yeah, he's good.
Yeah,
No,
it's
don't say
good.
he's fine. Look, he's on the
He's
dream team in the
fine.
U.S. Yeah,
Yeah,
he's
I
not bad.
know. He's listen. I it's just not enough, man. They're just not there yet. I want them to be there so bad. Like I want the Orioles to be good
So do I.
so
I'm
bad.
with you. I'm
I'm
not
just
against
waiting,
you.
man. It's just gonna take time. That's all. It's just gonna take time with the Orioles. That's
We
just
don't
it.
got time. I don't got time, man.
I
I
got
need it
time
right
for that.
now.
I know.
I'm just kidding.
They'll be better than
Well,
Boston though. I think they win more
yeah.
games than Boston.
So that's where I want to go with this next. So let's give our predictions
Okay.
for the division. I will start here and I'll let you go next, Nick. So I have the Blue Jays winning the division, 96 wins, 66 losses. Yankees at 90 and 72. I have them snagging a wild card.
Okay.
Third, I have the Tampa Bay Rays at 85 and 77, a step down, just a one win less from last year. So very similar. Then I have the Orioles finishing with the same record that they finished last year at 83 and 79. I just don't. Maybe I'm biased towards what they did in the offseason. Like, I don't think it matters if Adley improves. I don't think it matters if Gunner comes out and has a great rookie season. I don't think all that matters. I'm with you about the pitching. Like the rotation, like your bullpen's not going to win you like 99 games. This is
Yeah.
not going to happen. Okay, it's just not going to happen. And I don't think their offense is that good to where it's like, okay, your offense is really good and your bullpen's really good, so you can get a wild card spot or win the division. I don't think it's going to happen. So Orioles 83 wins, and then lastly, Red Sox at 76 wins. So look,
Okay.
not a good division, a good
Yeah.
division. It can be competitive, but not expecting much from the Red Sox there.
No, not at all. I'll go down my list. Yeah, I think the Yankees still find a way to win the division. I think they win it very closely. I think it's gonna be really close. I think Yankees find a way. I think their offense will come alive towards the back end of the year. So I'm gonna take the Yankees to win the division. I think they're gonna win 95 games this year. I think that's where they're at. 95 games for the Yankees. And then second, have to have Blue Jays right there. I think it's be close. 94 wins for the Blue
Okay.
Jays this year. Right. I think we're gonna get it coming down to the wire with these two teams at the end of the season. So I'll take the Yankees 95 wins, 94 wins for the Toronto Blue Jays. Third, I'm going to go Tampa Bay Rays. I think they're just a little bit more talented than the Orioles, unfortunately, because I want to see the Orioles win so bad. But I'm going to take them at 84 wins this year. I think they'll be at around 84 wins, 84 and 78. I have Tampa Bay at. Right behind them, I have the Orioles. I think the Orioles will get 79 wins this year. I think 79 wins out of the
Oh,
Orioles.
you haven't
I think,
taken a step back. Wow.
yeah, I just
Ah,
the pitching just doesn't do it for me, man. I'm not sold on their pitching. I think they have 79 wins, under 80 this year. And then at 76 wins, I have the
Red
Boston Red
Sox.
Sox.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah,
I think we're
I just the pitching's just killing it for me, man. I think you're gonna see a lot of young guns this year, and I think it's gonna be they're gonna take a little bit of a step back. I think they overachieved. I think they way overachieved last year. I think you take a little bit of a step back. You're getting some young players into that system, into that lineup. You're gonna see a lot of mixing matching that starting rotation, taking a little bit of a step back this year, and then next year might be a year they start taking off a little bit.
okay. Yeah, I can see that. So yeah, so there is our predictions for the AL East. Now let's get to the NL East.
Oh
This
yeah.
was yes, we are biased. It's okay, Nick Earnshaw. I'm gonna try to be my best to be a little unbiased here, and
Okay.
you know,
Okay.
Our Philadelphia Phillies, we will save here. But we obviously have to get the worst out of the way. No one wants to hear about the Nationals. Let's be
I
real.
do. I do.
No, oh, right. Yeah, yeah. You had to say that for work. I get it. You have to
I
say that.
don't. I mean, I don't work for them anymore, so it's okay.
Right, but
It's
yeah,
okay.
they hold a special place in your
They
heart.
do.
That's okay.
The Blue Rocks, high A man.
Yeah, good for the Blue Rocks. Hey, great stadium, great minor league
We're going
field.
down there. I hope you know that. I'm
Oh,
taking you down there.
we're there.
We're there.
The shift from the Blue
The
Rock
shift
Stadium.
live.
I'm
We're
down.
gonna do it. We're gonna make.
Oh,
I'm gonna make some phone calls. That's what I'll do.
okay, let's make them, please. You don't have to tell me. So let's start with the Nationals. Again, like at least unlike the Red Sox, at least I guess like they know they need to rebuild. Um, you know, you got rid
Yes.
of Trey Turner last year in a trade, got rid of Max Scherzer. You got rid of Kyle Schwarber last year. Well, no, that was the year before. I'm sorry, I went to the Red
Juan
Sox. I
Soto, the
lied.
big one last year.
Yeah, the big
Juan
one, of course.
Soto.
How can I miss? Wait, was I a year? Was I a year behind
I
them?
think you're. I think you're a little
Wait, did
year.
I say no, no, no? Did
Yeah.
I say Turner? Oh
Yeah.
God,
Juan Soto,
oh
man.
God,
I
what is wrong
got
with
you. It's
me?
all right. So I'm here. That's why
Like
I'm
that's why
here.
you're here.
Juan
Just the
Soto
Blue
was the big
Rocks,
deal last
right?
year.
That duh, yeah,
Added to their farm system a little bit. So I got to see some of those guys. Got to see some.
yeah,
CJ Abrams, big
right.
one. Hopefully he's up in high A this year. He was in low A last year. Didn't get to see any of his games. But yeah, I mean, listen, they're not even close. They're not even close. The Nationals aren't
55
close.
wins last year, baby.
The Nationals aren't close. They're in a full rebuilding mode. Top prospect for a while, and Cade Cavalli. Can he stay healthy? What's he going to look like this year? I mean, that's kind of the big storyline with the Nationals, right? What's Cade
It's not
Cavalli
too
going to?
much. Hey, don't forget about Joey Meneses, man. He's having a good
I
World
know.
Baseball
Yes,
Classic.
yes,
I,
yes.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
But I'm
But
looking at Cade. I'm looking at Cade, man. What is Cade going to do for them this year? How what's he going to look like? They also added Mackenzie Gore in that trade from San Diego, another good prospect. You're not going to get out a lot of the big club this year. I'm sorry. It's not going to happen for the Nationals whatsoever. So for Washington, yeah, if you're a Washington fan, not a lot to look forward to. If you want to go down to the minor league games, go to Frawley Stadium.
yeah, hang
Uh,
out with us.
go to Fredericksburg. Yeah, sure. You're gonna see some of these top guys um, play a lot of time down there. That's just how it's gonna be because I mean they all I mean if you look at their team, man, I mean Corey Dickerson, uh they still have Strasburg, he's still hanging around, Lane Thomas. Do you even know some of these guys that I'm naming off right here? I mean, seriously,
Yeah, I
it's.
mean, yeah, obviously
I mean, I know
Strasburg, but
you
like, I
do.
don't.
Yeah,
I mean,
their lineup's not gonna be good, man.
Wait, you
It's
say you don't believe in Heimer Candelario and Keibert Ruiz? I mean, Keibert Ruiz is hitting fifth. I don't. That just says it all right there. Like, I
uh
mean, they're just in rebuild mode, dude. Like, I mean, I'm looking at their lineup right now too. Like Lane Thomas, Corey Dickerson. Corey Dickerson's kind of just been, he's been around, just
yeah,
had
yeah.
good
Is he a former
points.
Philly? Isn't he a
Yeah,
former Philly?
for a
Yeah, that's
second.
right.
Yeah, for a hot second.
Yeah, half a second.
Um, Look, Meneses, he's a fun little story. He's been good when he came up last year at 30 years old, and
Yeah,
he's been good in the World Baseball Classic. But like, I mean, look, obviously, there's not too much to say besides like I'll get the good out. I'll tell you what the positives that I'm excited about. Like some of the I know you're a big prospects guy, but I enjoy watching some of these players develop as well. CJ Abrams, I'm excited to see
yeah,
kind of what they do, kind of how his career develops this year. Maybe he's 22 years old. You mentioned Cade Cavalli. He's supposed to be one of their more highly touted prospects. Cade Cavalli, I'm looking forward to. Josiah Gray hasn't had the best start to his career, but maybe he turns a corner a little bit. And then again, Joey Meneses. Like these are the guys I wrote down, and like that's really all it is that I'm excited for, man.
You got
Not too
James
much
Wood.
besides
I
that.
think I think I said CJ Abrams. I meant James Wood earlier. James Wood, top prospect, was in low A last year, came over in the trade. Robert Hassel the third,
Oh, so some of
another
these guys
guy.
aren't even gonna play though. You're
No,
just mentioning.
gosh,
Okay,
no.
I'm
No,
talking about
these
some of
are
these guys that are on the
yeah, I mean
on the team.
Abrams was on the big club. I meant James Wood. He's a
Okay,
guy that's been is in the minors, top highly touted prospect, a lot of power, a lot of raw power. Robert Hassel third, Elijah Green. Don't know what to make of Brady House still after they drafted him a little while ago. But yeah, I mean, listen, they're going to be dead last in this division. It's not even going to be close. They're probably going to win 55 to 60 games again this year. Just don't expect much. CJ Abrams, the leader of this squad, Robles as well, but yeah,
for
not a lot to
for
look forward to in Washington.
for every other team in this division when they play the Nationals, it's just gonna kind of be like, hey, get out of our way.
Yeah,
Um,
sold
so
their soul for that title.
they did sell their soul. So let's talk about. And honestly, I think the other four teams in this division, including the team we're about to talk about, are really interesting.
Yes.
I think let's talk about the Miami Marlins because I
Mhm.
think the other three teams is kind of a different stratosphere for the other
Yeah.
three teams. Um, but the Miami Marlins coming off a 69 win season. Look, usually when we talk about a team that's coming off a 69 win season, it's like why would we get excited to talk about a team like that? I think there's excitement there with the Marlins, and I think yes, they did trade away Pablo Lopez, but you got back a great hitter in Luis Arias, who's playing for I think Venezuela right now
Yeah.
in the World Baseball Classic. Batting champion last year, man. Batting champion. I think that was a good trade for Miami because they're very good at developing young pitching. They always seem to have good young pitchers. I mean, Sixto Sanchez, he just couldn't stay healthy. So it's kind of a bit of an outlier there. But again, like man, like I'm just looking at their lineup like right now, like Jazz Chisholm, of
Mm.
course, and the cover of MLB
Love
the Show this year.
Jazz.
Jorge
Love Jazz.
Soler. Jorge Soler he was NLCS MVP just a couple of years ago. Maybe he bounces back from Miami this year. I don't know. Again, I mentioned Luis Arias. Ivisel Garcia, interesting one, maybe has a bounce back year. Again, we're not, I'm sure you agree with this. I'm not saying this team's going to be great this year,
No.
but there's some excitement here. Gene
Yeah.
Segura, one of the more underrated players in baseball, I think. Joey Wendell, again, another underrated player. They made that acquisition. This or was it? Oh, he was with. Oh my God, I've been messing up all over the place, Nick. He was in Miami last year too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I believe you're right. Yes.
Okay. So Wendell's there. And then you got and look at the rotation. Obviously, Sandy Alcantara,
Oh,
Lazardo, Johnny Cueto, still good even at 37 years old. Had a good year. Trevor Rogers, excuse me, probably another candidate for a bounce back year. Edward Cabrera. I mean, just if you're a fan of pitching, like his stuff is some of the nastiest stuff in the world. His changeup and his fastball, just disgusting. And then their bullpen's always pretty good as well. But I think there's some intrigue there, man. I think there's some
there
intrigue there.
is.
You got the Cy Young winner. I think their rotation's going to be good. And there's some intrigue there in the lineup, man. Like, what are your overall thoughts on Miami? Because I am pretty excited to see
Forgot to
what they can do
mention.
this year.
Forgot to mention Don Mattingly out, Skip Schumacher in as
Oh
manager
right,
as
shoot,
the
I forgot.
Marlins.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean a lot very interesting down there in Miami. I don't know if they'll fill up the stadium like the World Baseball Classic, But I'm just saying, I'm just pointing it out. But listen,
No, you're right.
I think they'll be a decent team. I think they're pitching. It that's gonna what's gonna win them games. I mean, Johnny Cueto, that's fun, man. Adding him to the lineup right there with Alcantara, Lazaro, Rogers, Cabrera. All right. You got some pitchers there in Miami, right? The lineup, it's not there yet for me. It's just not there yet. I like the addition of Gene. I love Jazz. You know, I'm just I think they're going to be an average team, and they're in the toughest division in baseball. I think they're on their way, right? I mean, they have some good young players. Good added a couple of veterans, and Segura added Cueto right to that rotation. Alcantara. Uh, do I have to say anything else about him? I mean, he's just ridiculous.
Yeah.
So I think Miami, they're an interesting team. I think they're a little bit of a sleeper. I think they might surprise some people this year with the young talent, adding a little bit of mixture of a veteran presence in that lineup. I think they'll be okay. I think they're going to be a little bit of flying under the radar team this year. I don't think they're going to be this team that's going to compete for a third wild card spot. I think they're going to be kind of this 78 to 82 win team this year. I think that's kind of their ceiling, and where they're at right now. I think they're not gonna be able to finish like third in this division unless something crazy happens. They're gonna be in the basement, but they're gonna be much better than Washington. You know what I'm saying? Like they're gonna be much better than Washington. I think their ceiling's a lot higher than Washington this season at least. But there's some intrigue in Miami. I think their pitching, I think their pitching staff is what's going to keep them afloat and what's going to have them able to win games this year because when you have a top end of the rotation like they do, you're going to be able to win some games. But the lineup just doesn't. It's not scary. Like who's that big bat? I don't see this big bat that's really gonna really hurt you. But they have some nice pieces in Jazz. They have Gene. Like so, I think they'll be an intriguing team. Just an average team though at best this year.
Okay. Yeah, I think we're on similar page there. So I'm gonna let you start with this one. Let's go. Let's fly up north.
Up north?
Uh, Up north to
How far
Atlanta.
north? Oh,
To
really? Just
Atlanta. We're not going that far. We're not going that
all
far
right.
yet.
We're
I want to know your
taking a pit
thoughts.
stop. Pit
Yeah,
stop.
a little pit stop. I want to know your thoughts on this Atlanta team because Atlanta 101 wins, 101 wins last year in 2022, lost to the Philadelphia Phillies in the NLDS. What are your thoughts on this team? Because I feel like people aren't talking about them enough. So again, it's World Baseball Classic right now. People are a little preoccupied, but
Yeah.
what are your thoughts overall on Atlanta?
Well, they had a I mean, listen, they lose Dansby Swanson this offseason, not going to be at shortstop this year, right? But they do bring in Sean Murphy from the Athletics. I mean, what are they just taking all the Athletics players at this point? It seems
Yeah,
like
right.
like what's going on with Atlanta. But I mean, listen, Spencer Strider is going to have an increased role, right? He's going to be able to pitch more innings this year. Um, you you have to get healthy seasons out of Ozzy Albies and Ronald Cunha, right?
Mhm.
That's going to be key for them. Michael Harris, another key part to this lineup. I think you can't count out Atlanta. I think Atlanta is going to be right there in the mix for a division title. You still have Max Fried at the top of your rotation. They're going to have um, Mike Soroka. He's going to come in to this lineup too. Matt Olson, another guy they got from Oakland last season. I like where this Atlanta team is. Unfortunately, I like where this Atlanta team's at. They still are going to be a contender again. I mean, they won a World Series just a couple of years ago. Got bounced in the first round in the NLDS by the Phillies last season. When it comes to Atlanta, I think you still have to be a little bit worried, right? I mean, they've locked up all these guys through like 2026 and 7. So all the young players, no one knows how he's been able to do it. But I mean, they still have a lot of young talent on this team. Their pitching is still going to be very, very good, especially with the 1-2 punch at the top, and then the lineup. It's about staying healthy with their top guys, and even if those guys go down, we've seen them. Their depth has been able to will them into the playoffs. So I like where this Atlanta team's at. I think they can compete. I think they. I want to say if they stay healthy, they're going to be second in the division.
Okay, so you think they stay healthy? You know what's crazy, Matt? Like I think they downright win this division. Like
Do you really?
yeah, I've been going back and forth on them in New York, really. But man, you got to consider like Atlanta
I
just
know.
knows what they're doing. Is it
Yes.
Anthopoulos? That's their GM. Like
Yes. I
I
mean,
mean,
no one
besides
knows how they've gotten
Harrison,
all these contracts done. Like
I know that's the point.
vastly underpaid.
Yeah, Corbin Carroll just got the same thing with
Yeah.
Arizona.
Yes.
But I mean,
Yes.
but like, look, I mean, they know what they're doing, man. They
Yep.
they they lock these guys up. I guess they make them feel like they're at
Yep.
home. Um, maybe they force them to sign the contracts. Who
Yep.
knows? But like, in all
Sign this
seriousness,
against
man,
your
like,
will.
yes, they chain their hand to the chair and say, "Ah, you have to sign it." But in all seriousness, though, like, okay, I do. You made some fair points. Like Acuna, got to stay healthy. Ozzy Albies, got to stay healthy. But at the same time, like, I don't know how much injury history Albies has. I don't really know besides his ACL how much Acuna has as well. But like, I see this lineup this year, like Acuna, Olsen, Riley, Murphy, and then Darno's like on the bench. Like, I mean, Travis
It's
Darno's on the
I know
bench.
it's
Like,
because of their
what the
depth.
heck?
That's what I'm saying. Even if
So
they
he'll
get
probably
hurt,
split some time for that
yeah.
DH though.
Yeah.
So like, I just think I think Eddie Rosario will have maybe won't have like a super duper big bounce back year, but I don't think he's going to be as bad as he was last year. Vaughn Grissom's a big one, but totally trust Atlanta the way they've been able to develop their young players. I don't see how Vaughn Grissom can't be an early candidate for Rookie of the Year. I
No.
just don't see why he couldn't be. I I just look at his line. Michael Harris coming off. He won Rookie of the Year, right? Not Spencer Strider. Was it
Yeah, I think
was
was
it
it
one the other way
Strider?
around? It was either way. They were 1 and 2 in Rookie of the Year voting.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter.
Doesn't
Like the
matter.
point is
They have
that like they're
young
both
players.
yes, but point is these are really good young players that are going to get better. And then I go to the rotation like Freed, beast. Kyle Wright led the league in wins last year. I don't care about wins, but at the same time, he's a really good pitcher. I know you're gonna salivate talking about wins. I get it. Charlie Morton. Charlie Morton, look, he's getting older. Wasn't the best Charlie Morton last year.
No.
But if anybody's going to come back, I think one of these older pitchers are going to come back and have a bit of a bounce back year. I think I could see Charlie Morton be that guy. And Spencer Strider, obviously 24 years old, only getting better. I mean,
Gonna have
strikeout
more. He's
machine.
gonna have more innings this year, no
Yeah,
doubt.
yeah.
He'll be
And
able to
then
pitch more innings. Yep.
I will give you one, and I think it's good that he is at the bottom of the rotation because there's not as much pressure there. But at the end of the day, still some pressure being a young guy coming up as a young prospect. Ian Anderson. Ian
Yes.
Anderson did
Yep.
not have a good 2022. He had a
Oh,
very bad 2022. I don't know what the issue was. I don't remember if he was injured or what it was, but wasn't the same Ian Anderson that we saw in 2021, where he was a very good young pitcher. Interesting one. But at the same time, like, again, I like their rotation. Their bullpen's nasty. You got Raisel Iglesias there, AJ Minter, Colin McHugh, Nick Anderson. Nick Anderson's an interesting one because can he come back and be what he was for Tampa Bay a couple of years ago? And then Kirby Yates. I forgot they had Kirby
oh,
Yates.
that's right.
Yeah, Kirby Yates is there. That's an interesting one. I don't even remember who was he with last year? Was he with Tampa Bay? I don't even remember. But Kirby Yates was, a couple of years
I
ago was just,
forgot. Did
yeah,
Atlanta
that's what I'm
sign
saying.
they signed Marcell Ozuna too? So they have him on the bench, don't they?
Well, I mean, he's
Is it?
been there.
Yeah, that's what I'm
Well, he
saying.
had the
Oh,
whole
they have
domestic
yeah.
thing.
So he's back. Is he back?
I mean, yeah. I mean, he just hit a home run against the Phils today in
Right.
spring
Okay.
training, so he's
All right.
back.
I wasn't sure
Yeah, but I don't know. I mean, Ozuna when he came
because they
back
signed him
wasn't all
back to
that great.
the 1 year deal thing, right? It was the Ozuna, the 1 year deal. It's like coming back to me.
Maybe
I think it was a
I think
1 year
so.
deal. They brought him back on.
I'm
Yeah.
looking at okay, free agent.
I think it was a
When did
1
he
year deal they brought
sign?
Ozuna back on. But
They
anyway, it just
either
goes
way,
to
like
show their
but
depth.
yeah. Oh, okay.
It's insane.
I was gonna give you an update on an Eagles signing, but I didn't want to do that on the
We
air.
could do it later. We could do it in a second. We'll do it later.
So off the football talk for a second.
To the
So
baseball
I
show.
just like, but in all seriousness, like I don't know. There's something about the Braves. Maybe it's something the sore spot in my heart as a Phils fan. Just like the Braves have always just year in and year out always have just
Yeah.
proven me wrong. And they've just done it year after year after year. So I'm not going to doubt them. I'm not.
Very
And
listen.
100. Yeah, go ahead.
Very well run organization. They
Very
signed
well
their
done.
players. It's bringing up the football point. It's very Howie Roseman esque, signing their players while they're young, while they're under contract to extensions, and they turn out to be bargains, right? I mean, same thing kind of with the Philadelphia Eagles happens in Atlanta. They sign these young players that produce for them early on, and they get it's and then a couple years later, it turns out that was a bargain. The Phillies tried doing that with Scott Kingery, didn't work out, obviously, but worked out for Michael Harris. It's gonna I think it's gonna work out for a lot of these young players, and it has for Atlanta, and that's why they have a World Series title. That's why they continue to win the division and continue to be in the playoffs every single year. It feels like so. Yeah, man, Atlanta's a scary team still. No, you cannot count them out, even though the Phillies did beat them last year,
You're right. But
which was
hey,
great.
playoffs is a different story though.
It's
I'm just talking
different,
about regular
different
season
animal,
year.
man. Different
Yeah,
animal.
no, it is. So let's excuse me, let's get to our hometown team. Let's get to Philadelphia Phillies. Obviously coming off a
Bills.
National League title
Mm.
here after 2022. Really finished with an 87-75 record. Just snuck in the playoffs. Thank God for that. Their wild card spot. That's what Rob Thompson and Bryce Harper and the rest of them said after last year. But they got to the World Series we're within 2 games of winning the World Series, man.
Yeah.
So look, good off season. Really like the off season, especially after Dombrowski went out and got Gregory Soto. Like I thought
Yeah.
that was a very good trade, a very smart trade from Dave Dombrowski. I, there's not too much to say more than like I think that if Harper was in the lineup the entire year, I could have seen the Phils winning this division. Like
Yes.
just being straight up, and like I'm realizing that in my head right now, as I'm thinking about this. Um, but without Harper, though, I do think. Look, I think again it's gonna be a it's 3-horse race in the division, but Harper not being there, I do think it hurts them in the first half of the season. I still like the lineup: Turner, Schwarber, Reese, JT, Castellanos is a big one. Derek Hall is a big one. Alec Boehm is a big one. Bryson Stott, like the bottom half of that lineup is big. Um, but you know what's crazy, man? I don't really think there's like even without Harper, I think they're just a super like solid, good. I won't say solid because they're more than the solid team. Good, well-rounded team. I think that the offense is there even without Harper. I think they still have a good offense. I think the rotation is good. Nola, Wheeler, Taiwan Walker was a good signing in the offseason. Ranger Suarez, I think will be fine for week 1 of the regular season. There was an update today on him about his arm. He said he didn't really feel anything. So I think he'll be fine. The Andrew Painter thing, I think is interesting, Nick, because he's not going to at least start throwing for another month.
Yeah.
Honestly, man, I wouldn't be surprised if it came out that he's getting Tommy John. Like, I'm just going to be real there. I don't know how much of that situation you know more than me, but I don't Painter. Look, I didn't think he was going to be the starter anyway. Coming into the season, I felt more comfortable with Bailey Falter being the fifth rotation guy. And then again, the bullpen. Sir Anthony, Alvarado, Kimbrel, Soto, Bilotti, Strom, Brogdon. Like, I think that's a good bullpen. I think there are some
Finally,
interesting
right?
things there. Yeah, finally. Yeah, since 2008. Um, I just think, Nick, that it's a good bullpen going into the season. I just think they have a good, well-rounded team. So I like what the Phillies have done.
Yeah, I you can't complain if you're the Phillies, right? I mean, the only thing you complain about is the Painter thing. If I'm the Phillies, I'll start with that. If I'm the Philadelphia Phillies, you shut him down for as long as he needs to be shut down. The kid's 19 years old. He's one of the top pitchers in base, top pitching prospects in baseball. I can't even talk. But I listen. When you have a young talent like that, 6'7", throws extremely hard, 99. I mean, velocity is ridiculous. And has some good stuff. You don't rush him. Don't rush Andrew Painter. Don't rush into him getting up into the big leagues. We know even if he pitched for the Phillies this year, he was going to be on a pitch count. He was going to be limited innings, right? We kind of knew this going into it. So I'm cool with them shutting him down for as long as they need to, because I mean you want to take your time with prospects like that and talent like that. So I'm cool with them shutting him down for as long as he needs to be shut down for. Don't risk the arm. Hopefully he doesn't have to get Tommy John. Wouldn't shock me if at some point he's going to have to, but I don't like the argument saying getting out of the way. If he doesn't need Tommy John surgery, don't get Tommy John surgery. You know what I'm saying? Like I I think that argument's just ridiculous. Like to get it out of the way early in his career. Like no, you're not going to do that to a young player. But take your time with him. Let him develop as much as he needs to before you're going to bring him up and really start hammering his arm in a pennant race. So I'm cool with it. If he's good to go by the end of the season and you feel comfortable, bring him up, bring him up. But that's where I'm going to say on Andrew Pater. But as for the rest of the Phillies team, right? I think they're in a good spot. And when you talk about Bryce Harper being out, you essentially replace him with Trey Turner. I mean, that's essentially what you're doing in the lineup. You're essentially adding Trey Turner to the lineup. Like last year, you didn't have Trey Turner while Bryce was out. Now you do. So I think they're in such a good position right now with where they're at offensively. This is going to be a great lineup. And I think Alec Bohm, I mean, you saw in the offseason, he added a lot of muscle. I think if he can add a little bit more power, a couple more home runs this year, Alec Bohm's on his way, man. So I think I'm very curious to see what type of season Alec Bohm has after last year. Very good last year. Played extremely well in the playoffs at third base defensively. Took a massive step forward. I think that's great for his confidence, by the way. I think that's huge when you're able to make those plays in a big time spot. And now I think it's going to carry over to the plate as well. When you're a confident ball player, it shows. And Alec Bohm has turned into a confident baseball player, which I don't think he was at maybe just this time last year, right? So I think Alec Bohm I'm very, very excited to see what he has in store this season. Bryson Stott, another guy moving to second base, going to be the partner with Trey Turner, another young guy that this Phillies team has, and I'm excited to see where he's going to go this year. And is it the Castellanos bounce back season this year? If I can get it out, man. It's been an hour and 16 minutes.
I know.
Can't even
We're
talk.
going
But
in.
yeah,
We're going in.
is it going to be a bounce back season for him? So
That's
listen,
big.
I think Dabrowski had a fantastic offseason. And adding to the bullpen was huge. We knew that was an issue beforehand for a long time here, and to get Strom, to get Soto, to get some of these Kimbrel, another guy to add to this to add to this bullpen rotation. It's gonna be nice to watch. And Walker, I feel like is not being talked about at all. He has not been talked about whatsoever. It feels like
In what way? What do
under
you want them to
I
be
feel like
like?
he's just been an underrated signing in my estimation. Like
I don't. I don't. I mean, I thought it was a. I thought. I don't think it was underrated.
I
I think
think
it was
people,
rated
but I think
properly.
people have, I think people have talked about the Painter stuff so much, like that
Yeah.
people forgot about Walker that they signed him, and I feel like it's flown under the radar this offseason and this spring training, just with World Baseball Classic, Painter getting hurt. I think it's just flown under the radar, and I think Walker might surprise some people this year. So, look, if you're the Phillies, they're going to win 90 plus games this year. I think that's going to happen. Um, it's going to be a dogfight in this
Yes.
division. It's wow, it's really a pick 'em, to be honest. So it's going to be
Yeah.
exciting. I'm not going to say where I'm putting them yet. I know I said something about the Braves, but we'll see when we finish this last team.
Yeah. Yeah. So let's get to our favorite team, the New York Mets. That's definitely our favorite team.
Ugh,
Let's start off with Jose Quintana. I don't know if it's like a certified report because then the New York Post reported that Jose Quintana to miss 3 months. He wouldn't
yeah,
return really until around the All-Star break. He would
yeah.
start throwing before the All-Star break, but he wouldn't be back to the All-Star break. But also at the same time, like Buck Showalter and the GM, who the name is escaping me right at the moment, but whatchamacallit. So, but it doesn't. They didn't confirm that
Is it
report.
Epler? Is it Epler?
I think so. Right? Yeah,
Yeah,
Epler.
Billy
Epler.
Epler. Yeah,
Yes. Yes. Correct. So that with the Mets, I just lost my train of thought. Jose Quintana. Oh, so the show. I know.
run out of gas here, man.
No, I get all the gas is still there. The gas is always there.
Gotta pump it.
S-
Pump the
yeah.
gas. Let's go.
So no, so Quintana, they didn't like confirm the report, but they also didn't really like,
Yeah,
deny it. They said like, oh, we don't have all the information yet, but like they know he's gonna miss time.
yeah.
So it looked like one of their bigger signings in the offseason. He's going to miss the first half of the season. So, but you still have David Peterson there, still have Tyler McGill. I think that's how you say it. Tyler McGill. But you know what, man? Like I still like the Mets a little more than I like the Phillies. I was looking at the rotation too, but I think their lineups actually going to carry, contrary to the belief. I think their lineups all around. I think their lineups really good. I think that's going to carry them. throughout most of the season. Brendan Nimmo, they gave him the extension.
Yep.
One of the more underrated, hitters in baseball. I think just on base machine. I hate the way he runs the first after he walks, but um, like I can't deny he's a good hitter. Starling Marte, I mean, still a very productive player. At this point in his career, even though he's 34 years old. Lindor, we're gonna see what happens with Frankie Lindor, but I like Lindor. He had a bounce back season last year with the bat. Pete Alonso, one of the better power hitting first baseman in baseball. Jeff McNeil, we see what he does, at the plate, what he's doing right now for the World Baseball Classic team in the U.S. Vogelback was pretty productive, I'm pretty sure, when he went to the Mets last year. In the second half of last season, kind of there. Eduardo Escobar at the bottom half of that lineup. I think it's pretty good bottom half. Then you got Omar Narvaez. That's their projected lineup according to Fangraphs. But you know what's interesting? Like the rotation's interesting for me, right? Because Verlander and Scherzer, yes, great Hall of Fame pitchers.
Yes.
And Verlander coming off a Cy Young year, literally. Scherzer coming off a good year, literally. Excuse me. Where he is older, but he didn't start every game. He was hurt. And that's where I think is going to be interesting for the Mets. Can Verlander and Scherzer stay healthy
Yeah.
enough? Because that's gonna matter for them going into the playoffs. Yes, you have Scherzer, Verlander. It's supposed to be the same thing with Scherzer and DeGrom last year, but obviously it didn't work out because of health problems. And I think that's going to be. I know we're just talking about regular season here, outlook, but I think you know going into the stretch run this year, that might hurt them. It might. I think they need Scherzer and Verlander to stay healthy because, like, look, Cookie Carrasco. We love Cookie Carrasco because of the type of guy he is. It sucks what he went through with I think he had leukemia, and they brought in Senga this year. But
I'm v-
like,
I, I'm
go
very
ahead.
curious to see what Kodai Senga does.
Me
I'm
too.
very
Me too.
curious to see because if they could stay healthy and Kodai Senga is legit and he's
Yeah,
able to transition over to the majors, it's a good rotation, man. It's a good rotation the
it
Mets
is.
have.
It's really good rotation, but I think Scherzer and Verlander is interesting. Can
Yep,
can they stay healthy? That's
yep.
Verlander did stay healthy last year, but can they stay healthy?
It's the it's, it's the biggest question for me.
Yeah,
And on our first pod, I think it was, I said, hey, look, I think Verlander takes a little bit of a step back. I don't think he's going to be as good as he was last year. I think there's a chance it could be a dumpster fire in New York this year with injuries. There's a very good chance things could go awry. Does Starling Marte take a step back? Does Scherzer and Verlander can they pitch as many innings at their age? Can they stay on the mound? Can they stay healthy? We saw how it went in the playoffs last year, and we know Cohen's going to spend big. They're going to have to make maybe a big move, maybe mid-season or maybe after the season. There's a guy out in Los Angeles out there. He's playing for a national team right now. Not Mike
who's that?
Trout.
Who?
Shohei Ohtani, man.
Who's that?
Oh man, I is somehow, some way, is it going to happen mid-season? I don't know, but I feel like at some point, especially if things start going awry, the rumblings will start even more with Ohtani to the Mets. I think it's very, very possible that could happen. I like their lineup. I think they have a very good lineup. Lindor, McNeil. We know McNeil can do. Pete Alonso has so much power. Bringing back Nimmo. Um, Brett Beatty, another guy playing third
Yeah.
base, young player. Yeah, on paper, the Mets, yeah, they probably should win the division, right? I just
I,
feel like there's always something that goes wrong with the Mets, right? I think they could have a good regular season, but if that top half of the rotation can't stay healthy, are the Mets in trouble? Are the Mets gonna maybe slide down to maybe a wild card spot, a third spot this year? I don't know. Very possible. Just a lot of moving parts for this Mets team that have to go right for them to have another successful season this year. I'm just saying things can happen, and Shohei could move across the coast. That's all I'm saying. Could
yeah,
happen.
that's until the Angels offer him $500 million like they did with Trout, and he
Cohen
said,
will, Cohen will offer him 6 at that point.
Yeah, seriously. Um, so I mean, I wouldn't even be surprised knowing Steve Cohen. Um, so like, yeah, I mean, I'm there with you, but I'm not. Like, I still think the Mets are good enough to be better than a third wild card spot. Like I think they have a lot of talent on this team. We didn't even mention their bullpen. Like I still think their bullpen's really good. Like you got Edwin Diaz. I'm curious to see what happens this year because he's had in 2018 after he had a really good season, he had a really bad season the year afterwards. So I'm curious to see what happens. But he's looked really good in the baseball
Yeah,
classic. So maybe he continues to be Edwin Diaz. He's
yeah.
right in the prime of his career right now. He's 29 years old. So I wouldn't be surprised there. Adam Ottavino, obviously, honestly, coming off one of his better years at 36 last year. David Robertson, we saw what he did for Chicago and Philadelphia last year. I thought he was really good. Brooks Raley, really good reliever. Drew Smith, really good reliever. Like these guys, their bullpen's really good, man. I like them better than the Phillies, man. Again, I think the Harper injury hurts. Where
It
I
does.
if Harper was here healthy, I think I would like them over the Mets. Um, but let's get to our predictions.
All
Nick, I'm
right.
going to start with you here.
Ooh.
I'm curious to
Oh. All
what one
right.
through
I gotta
five.
start.
Let's let's do this instead of going down 1 through 5. We'll
All right.
go 1-1, 2-2. Like we'll
All
go
right.
each. All right. So
All right. Do you want
who
to
do
start from
you?
the bottom? Let's start from
Yeah,
the
I'll start from the
basement.
bottom. Start from the
Start from
bottom.
the
Now we're
basement.
here. Yeah, start from the
Start.
bottom. Now we're here.
That's how you gotta
Play
start it,
through.
right? All
Right.
right. I
So
mean,
let's
I
start
think
with
this is
you.
easy.
Fifth. Yeah, go ahead.
Easy. The Nationals. They're gonna win 58 games this year. How about
Look
that?
at that. We both got
58. They win.
58. I said 58 too.
Ah,
Oh
look
my
at
god.
that. Look
Why'd
at
you look?
that.
Did you look at my paper?
I
You
can't
cheating
even.
over here? You cheating?
Yeah, Duke graduate apparently.
Right. Thank you.
Faux Duke graduate.
Do I need to bring up the picture? Yeah, just I
Faux
want to
Duke
tell the
graduate.
audience real quick. Nick Earnshaw doesn't believe. I went to Duke. I went to
Hmm.
Westchester for undergrad, and then I went to Duke. I graduated there 2021.
Yeah, listen, I'm a believer now based upon the photo that you shared. I think you should share it out on social media too
Can I
at
show it
some
on here
point.
real quick? Can I show
Yeah,
it?
go ahead. Yeah, if
All
you
right,
want.
let me go to our everlasting text. All right, let's see. Can oh wait, no, I'm
There
old.
you go.
There it is. There I am.
Oh, look at that
Oh wait,
guy. He's got like what's like the why is your part of your head cut off?
what do
You
you
have an
mean?
extra ear? You have an extra ear in that picture?
That is not. I have big ears. I'm sorry. You can't see. I have big ears.
While you're Duke graduate while wearing a Westchester hoodie. It's
Okay, I went to community college as well. Went to 3 schools.
oh,
Okay,
you went to I went to two, so
good for you.
yeah, I went to two. Went to two. All
Okay,
right. Nationals 58 wins.
yeah, 58 wins. We both have the Nationals.
Yes.
All right, so
Yes.
let's go to what? Who do you think finishes fourth?
The Miami Marlins will
Okay,
finish fourth in this division. I think we're both in agreement there. I think they get 80 wins. I think Miami
are
gets 80
you?
wins.
Can you stop looking
No
at my
way. Are you
sheet?
you actually have
Yes, I
80?
100% have them 80 wins.
Let's go. I
Yeah,
got
I
it on
think.
the sheet right here.
Look at that, dude. I think they.
Ah,
Yeah, I think they. I like
this
their
is where
ceiling too.
see but like in agreement here, and this is where it's just gonna go like that.
Yeah, Luis Arias. Yep, it's gonna go
Yeah.
Arise.
It's gonna go rise. Oh, good one. Good one.
Look, you like that? Off the
I loved
Marlins.
it.
Yeah, look at that.
Loved it. Loved it.
All right,
All right.
so we both have them at
Third.
80 wins. Yeah, I think their ceiling is like 82, 83, but I like them at 80. So, what
Yeah.
about who finishes third for you?
I
Give me that
I
BS. I
just
already know you're about to
don't
give me some
I
BS.
just don't want people to be surprised when things go awry for the New York Mets. The New York Mets are going to finish third in this division.
How many wins?
I think they finish with 90 wins total. And here's why. I don't think Verlander and Scherzer are going to stay healthy. I think there's going to be some surprise things that happen with the New York Mets. I think things can go awry with that team in a heartbeat. I understand everyone loves the Mets early on in this season, but I don't want listeners to think that the Mets can't go awry this year and things can't go wrong, especially when you have two 37, 40-year-old pitchers the top of your rotation. So I'm there. I think the Mets finish third in this division. I do. I think the Braves are going to be that good. I think the Phillies are going to be that good. I don't know where I'm putting them now, but I'm just saying Mets are third.
Yeah, I mean, like, I think Mets fans are with you. Like, we all, like, Mets fans and every other baseball fan knows that, like, things can go wrong for the New York Mets. And
I think it is. I
I
think it's
did,
going to happen for a while this
but
season.
I agree with you. Looking at what they did last year, and they were able to win 101 games, even though they were on pace to even win more than that. Um, I just still I still like their talent overall enough for them to win. I like them in 93 wins. So we're not,
Okay,
I mean, we're not that
not
far
far off.
off.
Or do you have him
Um,
third? You don't have
oh
him
wait,
third,
oh
do you?
my God, you just gave away my second pick. That was me. No, what am I blaming you for? That was me. I like, so obviously, my second pick is,
Yeah,
but just erase that from your memory. It never happened.
it's
Um,
gone. It's
so
gone.
I like the Phillies and the same record as you with the Mets. I have them at 90 wins as well.
Okay.
So not that far off from your Mets pick. But again, like my biggest things were Harper being out does hurt.
Hmm.
Um, I do think Andrew Painter, hopefully he comes back and he gives them, a little bit of depth. But again, if you're a baseball fan in general, too, like shut down Painter until he's ready.
Yep.
So again, I think they're well rounded, but I don't think there's any strength on this team that puts them ahead of the Mets or the Braves. I don't think there's one strength. The offense isn't good enough for me to put them over the Mets or the Braves. The rotation, the bullpen, none of these things are just so out of this world, like elite, where I'm saying, oh, this is better than the Mets and Braves. So they're
Okay,
third now.
that's fair. And we know what our second one is. You have the Mets second. I'm
Yeah, and
guessing
you had the Phils.
I have the Phillies second. I have the Phillies at 92 wins though. 92
Okay.
wins for the Phillies. I listen. I think their lineup is so good. I think you're going to see guys like Stott and Bohm really start to blossom this year. And my guy Reese Hoskins. I think in a contract year, he's going to want to get paid in the offseason no matter who it is. I think he has a big 30 plus home run year this season.
Okay.
And I like where the Phillies are at. I just think they have such a unique roster where everywhere is just really good. It's not beyond great. The rotation isn't beyond great. Like it's
Yeah,
not
I
like
agree with you.
we know Bailey Falter is probably gonna be the fifth starter.
Yeah.
Ranger Suarez has been really good. Is good. Ty Walker's good. Wheeler and Nola, very curious to see how they
Right.
bounce back after all the innings they pitched last year.
Yeah.
I think they'll be okay though. I just think they're really good, and I think they're going to be able to string together wins with this lineup, even if guys go in and out. And I think the rotation and because the bullpen's better, I think it's going to help them win more games. The bullpen cost them the past few seasons in winning some games late, and I think that's going to change and flip a little bit this season. I think the bullpen with how much more deeper they got, I think it's going to add to their win total this year. And that's why I think I have them second this year. I like the Phillies second. I think they win 92 games.
Okay. All right. I'll let it slide. But I mean, we're we're no, but we're like, I mean, to be honest, like we are. I guess we disagree on like the wins and everything, and like maybe the second and third place. But at the same time, it's not that far off. Like 90
No.
to 92 wins. Like it's again, like we said in the beginning, like this is going to be a dogfight.
Yeah.
So let's get to number one here where we agree. I'll give you Braves 98 wins. I like them
97.
to. You have 97. Okay, so you
97.
weren't that far off from me.
No.
Okay,
No.
you were making it sound like you were way off from me on the Braves. Okay,
No. I wasn't
okay.
way off.
Yeah, I just think they're. I think people forget about the Braves a lot, and I don't think that really matters here. I think it's more about the type of team they have, what they've been able to do, their track record over the last 5 years, just winning the NL East year after year after year, and coming back in the second half of last year to to win the division over the New York Mets is just unbelievable. But then they got spanked by the Phillies. Just want to mention that real quick.
Yes.
Um,
Yes.
but I just think I think their rotation's a little underrated. And I think they're just not being talked about too much enough. Maybe just because
Yeah.
they didn't get past the divisional round last year. But I like the Braves. I think they finished first, 98 wins.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think Atlanta does win this division. Unfortunately, coming us guys from Philly, but I think
Yeah,
Atlanta will win this division. 97 wins will be the total. I just really like their depth and the way to develop players, young players especially. So I think they'll have no problem replacing Dansby Swanson at short. I like Michael Harris a lot. I think Strider, you're going to see him expand his innings this season. Very excited to see what he can do. But yeah, listen. I think with Atlanta, the talent they have, they're a team that's kind of getting forgotten. I feel like a little bit with all the hype with the Mets and then the Phillies. They add Trey Turner. I think Atlanta is just consistently good, and they're able to continue to develop players to plug in places when they lose a guy like Swanson, they lose a guy like Freeman. They go out and make a trade for Olson, right? So I think when it comes to the Braves. They're very good at maneuvering how their roster and making changes and filling holes really quickly. And I think that's a credit to their farm system and the way they develop players too. So I think they continue to be an exciting team in baseball, and they're a threat every single year, and they're going to be a threat again. And they'll probably win this division at 97 wins.
I like your analysis there, Nick. That was good.
Thanks, man. Thanks,
Thanks.
man. Thanks.
No,
Appreciate
that
it.
was that was good, man. We definitely went a little longer than our
Than we
other
thought.
divisional. Yeah, this one I think we
It's the
were just
best division. The other one,
yeah,
the first, the
exactly.
Central
Thank you.
stink. Central
Right.
stink.
So that got no
The
time.
West are
Right.
cool. The West are cool. They have some good
Right.
teams there. I mean,
This
the
is fun.
East. It's fun, man. It's fun stuff.
Yeah, it's fun, man.
Great
So
stuff.
like, look, man, this was these divisional outlooks were fun. I think these all look, I think there's a lot of intriguing things for each of these divisions, but
Yes.
obviously the East most intriguing. So yeah, I think that's all for today. We went a long time today. That's
First
not a
time
bad
live
thing,
on
man.
Twitter. First time live
Yeah,
on Twitter.
yeah, we had to show out for Twitter. We had to show out. Um, so that's gonna do it for us today. I will have a video, guys, for you guys coming soon as well. I like to do my my weekly video, obviously. I like to coincide with the podcast. So obviously, look out for that. Make sure you subscribe to us on what is it called now, Nick? It's not called Anchor anymore. What is it
No,
called?
it's Spotify for podcasters now, right?
Why'd you almost say that in a British accent?
I don't know. You know,
Podcasters.
podcasters. Yeah, but you can get it on the normal stuff. Spotify, YouTube, where you post the video, Apple Music, iHeart, Google. So we'll be all on all the other platforms too. So
Yeah, Nick, what's what okay, we got our I'm sitting here asking for like social media. You see the social media stuff down here. I'm trying to use my finger
yes,
to point.
it's
Yep,
right there,
yep,
right
you
there.
see it. Go follow us there. Follow us on TikTok. Follow us on IG. Follow us everywhere. And we will see you guys soon. Thanks for listening today.